Secretary Salazar, I find your testimony today very interesting. The administration claims to commit to powering of the American economy. You tout the Bureau of Reclamation's facilities that deliver cheap, affordable water to millions of Americans and allow Western farmers to thrive. You claim the administration is encouraging economic development in Indian country and honoring trust responsibilities. Yet this administration is taking actions or considering actions that compromise each of these goals in my state alone. The administration opposes my jobs legislation, H.R. 1904, the Southeast Land Exchange and Conservation Act. While this budget proposes essentially a $45 billion tax increase on American job producers, it stands in the way of a project that would have an estimated total economic impact of over $61 billion and providing over 3,700 high-paying Arizona jobs and generating $19 billion in federal, state, county, and local tax revenue. The administration is requesting millions of dollars to purchase lands across the West under the guise of better management, yet it opposes legislations that will allow BLM alone to acquire over 4,000 acres of pristine and highly desired conservation land in Arizona that will in fact lead to better land management at zero cost to the taxpayer. In fact, I will quote, the Nature Conservancy called one of these the last vestiges as priceless. In this.
Excuse me, you're speaking about Resolution Copper?
I'm talking about the Southeast Land Exchange.
So that's a Resolution Copper?
Yep. Yes, I am.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
The $14 billion in tax revenue, the 4,100 of pristine land coming into the BLM stewardship, 3,700 jobs, increased domestic mineral independence, all these benefits are supposed to be central to your agency's mission. Did the administration take any of this into account when taking an opposition to my bill?
The answer is we believe there's a way forward with respect to Resolution Copper. It was approved last year in the Senate Energy Committee. Unfortunately, it did not get through the Congress before the time of the Congress expired. We had the right balance in terms of moving forward and doing the compliance with environmental issues. We don't believe that you ought to take a shortcut in dealing.
How would pre-NEPA actually benefit anything that going forward? All those interchanges are exactly the same. They get no stewardship difference of any of those Antiquities Act, the environmental impacts. They have to do it all the same.
Congressman Gosar, I personally have visited the site with Senator McCain and know that it is an important opportunity for both jobs as well as an important opportunity for conservation. It also is a place where there are very significant tribal interests that need to be addressed, and also a place where the water issues in that area are very important to also address. So it is important that the legislation that was proposed, I believe that came out of the Senate Energy Committee on the Senate side and actually had made it to the floor, that kind of legislation move forward so that we can make sure that we get
I actually find it very kind of unusual that we consider legislation from the previous Congress when we said having a bill that passed the House directly, and we should be considering that accordingly. So I find a lot of excuses here, and particularly when you look at how much studies have been done around this area, I find it very excuse-ridden as to why we're standing in the way. I think we ought to be looking at this very constructively and moving forward with that. I got a little short time. I want to hit something else. I'd like to briefly touch on the administration's potential mandates that would shut down the Navajo generating station. As I'm sure you're well aware, because the Interior is a 25% owner of the NGS, the plant is critical to Arizona's water supply because it provides 95% of the power for the Central Arizona Project. CAP delivers more than 500 billion gallons of the Colorado River to 80% of Arizona's populations. Without it, Arizona's farmers would have to use groundwater, surely drying up our precious water resources. The plant employs over 500 people, 80% are Native American. The revenues from the excess power is critical to the federal government's obligation to uphold previously enacted water settlements. I'd like to thank the Assistant Secretary Harris in your understanding of those effects of BART and the rulemaking process in the Hays. Can you please tell me, Secretary, what the Interior has done to articulate to the EPA the importance of the issues related to the tribes, Arizona's water and state economy, and although the Interior does not control the regulatory process, the agency could be hit hard due to this action?
I understand, and I've had the Deputy Secretary lead the effort for the Department of Interior. David?
Congressman, we have been in very close partnership with EPA. Obviously, EPA has an important decision to make, and we do not and we do not step in their shoes. They have been very cooperative. They have been also reaching out to the tribes, engaged in consultations, and as you know, we help sponsor a third-party independent analysis through the National Renewable Energy Laboratory that provides a lot of useful information that we think provides a basis for good decision-making, and we will continue to work collaboratively across the affected agencies and with the tribes and the water users.
Time of the gentleman has expired. Gentleman from